why mediation marketing is so difficult. If you are generating your cases from panels and other sources, then this will typically not be as relevant for you. But if you are getting direct referrals from attorneys and other channels, then you will probably, whether you're just starting out or have been running your practice for a while, come to realize the difficulties in obtaining those direct referrals and getting on the radar of the attorneys. And that's precisely what we're going to talk about here today in this short video. Please hit that like button and the subscribe button. And let's jump into the presentation. Now, the best way of illustrating this is by way of a few examples. So let's start off with a consultant. Now, a professional consultant that provides services to corporations and representatives of corporations will typically do so by focusing on one audience at a time, or one individual at a time. So in this scenario, the consultant will typically get their business from one or more stakeholders within the company. It could be an HR professional, it could be a CTO, it could be a CIO, it could be a CEO. But whatever this consultant is doing and whomever he or she is focused on, it will typically only be one individual at a time at least. And there will be one individual that will make the decision on whether they want to hire this consultant or not. Another example would be an expert witness. Now, expert witnesses obviously operate a little bit differently than consultants, but the experts will generally generate their business from attorneys and law firms, and they will typically target one individual and a target audience at a time. So when they get hired for a case, they will generally get hired by an attorney. There won't be multiple individuals involved in how they get selected and hired. Now, a third example of a similar setup would be someone that's working within litigation support. If you're doing this, then again, you're probably generating most of your business from attorneys and law firms, and you will generally target one attorney at a time. So you're focusing on getting business from one law firm, you're speaking to one individual there. Again, there may be multiple individuals involved in that decision-making process, but it's still only one client that you're focused on and you're trying to get them to hire you. A mediator will generate their cases from attorneys. And thus far, it's very similar to several of the other examples that I just showed you. But where it becomes different is that any mediator will have to be selected by two attorneys. So for any case, you will have a plaintiff's and a defense attorney, and the mediator will have to ensure that both of those attorneys feel comfortable with selecting the mediator for the case. Now, what does that mean in terms of business development efforts? Well, it means that not only will you have to target the defense side, you will also have to target the plaintiff side. Sometimes it's easy for you to distinguish between the two, but other times it's not. So it becomes a question of enhancing your visibility, your reputation, and your network within the right type of target audience. Now, let's say that that is personal injury attorneys, for instance. So you will have to focus on enhancing your visibility within this space to a degree that's sufficient for you to be selected by these parties. But you can instantly see how this becomes much more complicated than for several of the other examples. Now, I'm definitely not saying that it's easy to be a consultant or an expert witness or working within litigation support, but being a mediator, that brings you into a very complex dynamics. And it gets even more complicated. Let me tell you how. The reason is most attorneys prefer to do business with mediators that are sought after, that are in high demand, and that their peers, their competitors, all want to use. Now, obviously, if you're just starting out today, it becomes really difficult to be that kind of mediator because you haven't got any cases under your belt and you may not have an extensive network or any network with attorneys. So how could you possibly be the one that everybody wants to use? So what's the solution then? Well, that's something that we're going to be covering in future videos. And this is precisely what my company works with. We show mediators and other professionals how to enhance their visibility and how to grow their network so that they are able to be put forward by one attorney and also accepted by the other side. I hope you found this brief video useful. If you did, hit that like button and the subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Thanks very much for listening in.